Hey guys, Thomas Solo Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, and I thought I was done talking about the Lego Batman movie, but the more I thought about it, the more I saw more comparisons to Deadpool as a movie, and I think there was one other reviewer that compared the two movies, and I thought it really interesting that after watching this movie that I actually thought that this movie was way better presented than Deadpool. Now, for those of you who don't know, I think I'm one of the very, very few YouTube reviewers who disliked Deadpool to the point of ranting about it. I'll probably leave a link in the description if you have not seen that yet, but I think that was a bit more unorganized at the time, but it's what I do on rants. Usually I'm a little bit more unorganized, but that's fine. Anyways, I wrote a little article which I'll probably also link in the description about this very topic. Um, how I felt that the Batman Lego movie did much better than Deadpool at delivering uh, a complete package of a movie. So I'm gonna be looking to the right of me a little bit because I have my little thing up here, my notes. Um, Now, starting with the story, I felt. First, I'll talk about Deadpool, and the story about that is he's trying to get his girlfriend back, and that's the simplicity of his story. And in the Batman Lego movie, he's trying to save Gotham while also dealing with that whole family aspect. And the flaw I saw with Deadpool is that while his action scenes were cool, it felt like his action scenes paused or slowed down getting to the plot, if that makes any sense. And it felt like the Batman Lego movie had a better time tying in the action with the story. And I don't know like why I think that specifically, but it just maybe it's just those little details I would have to look into, but that is something that I noted on my little thing there. Um, like I felt like it was more seamless, and I felt like it just went along with the story. Well, the two notes that I put there, and I don't know if I could pinpoint what exact moments felt like that, but still. Anyways, both movies hit their references and whatnot, and I felt like the Lego Batman movie had a lot more material to work with than Deadpool did. Deadpool had to work with the previous movies that were associated with Ryan Reynolds, which was the Green Lantern at the time. And I think there was one other movie I kind of forgot. It's been a little bit too long, so I don't remember what the other movie was, if there was another movie reference. Um, but I think the Lego Batman movie had actually more reference material to work with, and I think that really helped. Um, and speaking of comedy, I personally felt like Colossus was more of a comic relief than Deadpool, and the comic relief as the main character can work. I've seen it work in Digimon, just to make a whole nother reference or another like side observation. Having a main character be the comic relief, it can work. I think it's a little bit difficult, but I think it's possible. Um, I think Digimon actually did an okay job for at the time. That came out in the early years when I was younger. But anyways, um, I just felt like Colossus had the better lines, and there's always something off about Ryan Reynolds to me as far as performance goes, and goes into my next point of the whole performance of Deadpool versus uh, Will Arnett as the Lego Batman. I always felt that Ryan Reynolds, the whole performance sounded off during the entire movie, and I think I compared it to the voice from the video game, which I felt that hits what I thought Deadpool should sound like during the movie. And even sometimes I felt like even his attitude could have been a little bit closer. I think there could have been a few more lines that hit a bit closer to what Deadpool's about. The whole chimichanga thing. I think that was in the movie. Again, it's just been too long, so my memory is a little bit shot on that, if that was referenced or not, but maybe it was, and I just missed it. But even if that's the case, I still felt like the voice was off. I mean, if you can have someone like, for example, like Takahata 101 do a better Deadpool voice in Death Battle, then I think Ryan Reynolds has some work to do on the voice. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But if it's something that's consistently throughout the movie, like at first I thought that that was gonna be a nitpick, but I don't know. If it lasts throughout the entire movie, it kind of gets in the way. It kind of takes me out of the experience. Um, so I'm a little scrolling down a little bit on my little list here. Um, so one thing that I noted that the Lego Batman movie did that I don't think Deadpool did, at least for me. Now I don't know if there are any other Deadpool theories out there, and I like to theorize about stuff. Um, I felt like the Lego Batman movie was a lot more open to the possibility of that. And there was a theory out there, I don't know who made it, but it was about how Batman is actually going to a psychiatrist to deal with his problems. And I actually really, really like that theory. And this movie, to me, amplified that theory actually, even further. And I thought to myself, man, what if in this movie Bruce Wayne is a kid that is going to see his psychiatrist because his parents really did die? Like, that is the one thing that did happen. And then he fantasizes about, what a true hero is, and he comes up with Batman. And the psychiatrist, I think, would be an interesting choice. I don't know if the theory itself said Alfred, but that's who I would have picked if it isn't Alfred in the original theory. But because he's always sort of worried, but he wants him to sort of explore being a hero. Like it feels like that fits, and the fact that the Lego Batman movie is able to sort of tug around with these further concepts of theories, unlike Deadpool, at least not to my knowledge of any theories about Deadpool. I think it's pretty great. Having the ability to expand past what the movie was. And the last thing I'll talk about is the moral of the movies. Now, for me, Deadpool's moral felt a bit wishy washy. It felt like they didn't care about the moral. And, I think they address it, or Deadpool actually, says, does his fourth wall breaking, and he talks about, oh, how if he talked to his girlfriend at this particular point, I think it was somewhere in the middle, then that would ruin the entire movie. And the way, I mean, that particular part, if I remember that correctly, it wasn't particularly that funny. And like I said, pointing out something like that doesn't necessarily it doesn't alleviate the problem. It just sort of amplifies it in this sort of sense, that the moral was a bit like, does he really care? I mean, is that the moral? I think it was supposed to be. Not to care about what you look like or whatever. But I don't know, like addressing it in the way I felt like it was addressed, it felt like they weren't taking the moral itself that seriously, and I felt like that kind of actually damages the film. Uh, Whereas the Batman movie, even with the morals of the movie being cliched a bit, they still took it seriously, and they had those little moments, and those moments I think hold a lot stronger when, you know, if you can play off something strong and emotional with something comedic, I think that's stronger than trying to, be like, haha, I get it, it's supposed to be a joke all the time. I think having that serious moment legitimizes the Lego Batman movie and its seriousness in comparison to when it's trying to be the funny movie that it is. So that is the last thing I will say about that. And I find it really interesting that um, DC, with this movie, at least for me, beat a Marvel movie at being a comedy. I didn't think that was possible until now. Now I'm looking at DC, looking, maybe these guys should do more of these in this style. Maybe you should be a little bit more lighthearted. Maybe you might be able to do it better than Marvel at times. Because I personally felt it did better than Deadpool. As far as comedy goes, as far as story goes, as far as characters go, as far as plot goes. That's quite a list of things I feel this movie has over Deadpool, which is why I made this video in the first place, and the article, which again I'll link in the description. So, I don't know. Overall, I think the Lego Batman movie hits a lot of things and hits them fast, and Deadpool just still sort of feels disappointing. Oh well. Anyways, this has been Thomas Sicily Jr., aka Mustached Tom, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!